Now replacing the spring onto the firing pin. This will be the difficult part for me because I just shot the spring across the room.
Watch!
BePro here for you today. Going to be putting myself a black oxidized Galloway Precision guide rod assembly into my LC9s Pro. Galloway Precision is one of the very few companies that I trust putting parts into my self-defense weapons. So let's get this thing torn apart and put in these new parts. First part of any install on a firearm is to make sure that the magazine is clear and that there is no ammunition in the weapon. The weapon is clear. First part is to tear the weapon down. With mine, the pin is a little firm, so I take my pick and I can push my pin right out at that point. We'll set our pin aside and the slide comes right off. We can set the frame aside for now. We will not be needing that. Next comes out the stock guide rod and the barrel, which we can set the barrel aside. The next part of this is to remove the firing pin. In order to remove the firing pin on the LC9s Pro, there is a little tiny channel in here with a little tiny nub. I have found that it works just fine for me to use my angled pick to pull that in order for me to remove my back plate. Once I have removed my back plate, the firing pin can come out. We can set the slide off for now. Now the firing pin has these two little cups on the front of it. And Galloway does have a block that they sell to hold the firing pin so that you can pull the spring down and remove the cups. The cups do come off in two parts. I do not have such an item, so this might be a little difficult on camera. I pull the spring down and remove the two cups from the spring, which releases the firing pin spring. I take the old parts off. The new parts come in this little bag here. Galloway Precision does recommend that you keep all your stock parts. So I will be taking the stock guide rod and the stock firing pin spring and placing them into the bag. That way, if I ever do have to send the parts into Ruger, I'll replace these parts before they will go to Ruger. Replacing the firing pin spring on here will be a little bit more difficult for me because I do not have the block that Galloway uses. So this will be quite a bit more difficult for me, and chances are is you may not be able to see it on camera, but I need to pull the spring down and replace these spring cups onto the firing pin. Once those cups are in place, you can place the firing pin spring into the cups, and the firing pin is now complete. We can now replace the firing pin back into the slide. I take my pick and I place it into the firing pin. I place my backer in and slide the backer all the way in. As soon as it snaps, I can see that the firing pin is now in place. I can cycle the firing pin with my finger. I will do it with the pick so that it's seen with the camera to make sure that it has and that seems to function properly. Now I can finish rebuilding the slide. The new black oxide spring is contained with its own retainer. I chose the black one. They also do make them in chrome. And this guy will sit in there beautifully. Put the barrel back in. And replace the spring. With all the parts in, the firearm can be reassembled. The pin can go back into the housing. And check for function. So that's it. That is the Galloway guide rod spring assembly and firing pin assembly. If you have any questions, just let me know down in the bottom. I always like the good comments. I appreciate the thumbs up. Please like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Now it's time for me to get the magazine loaded and put one in the chamber.